I'm Rick Casey, and this is Texas Week. What is the state of Muslim San Antonio in the wake of the tragic mass shooting in Orlando? Would it surprise you to learn a delegation attended an LGBT rally to mourn the tragedy? I'll be joined by a Muslim leader to discuss this and other aspects. Evan Smith will join me from Austin to discuss Julian Castro's vice presidential chances. And in my last word, what amused me about the agreement between the city and the police union. Texas Week starts now.
This week's most important stories, people, and issues in depth. This is Texas Week with Rick Casey.
The tragedy of Orlando, 49 murdered and more than 50 wounded by a lone gunman who claimed to be loyal to ISIS, impacted the entire nation. San Antonio, like every other city, joined in the mourning in our own way. Tonight we'll talk to a Muslim civil rights activist about what she has seen in her community. Sarwat Hussein has written on Islamic issues, has testified before Congress, and is the longtime president of the San Antonio chapter of the Council on Islamic American Relations, a national organization defending the reputation of U.S. Muslims. Welcome, Ms. Hussein.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Before we start talking about these issues, I'd like to get a sense of the size, nature, complexity of the Muslim community in San Antonio. 13 mosques.
There are 13 mosques and about 30,000 Muslims. The community is growing fast. You know, everybody's coming to San Antonio these days, seems like. And it is a very, you have Muslims from all over the world. If you come to a mosque, you will see that people speaking different languages, different color skins, different cultures, because they are coming from all different 57 Muslim majority countries.
And you originally were from Pakistan, but you've been here quite a long time.
Yes, I've been here for about 26 years.
Okay, and you are a U.S. citizen.
San Antonio, yeah.
Yes. And education levels vary, or?
Most of them are highly educated. And the rest of them are business owners. This is a very affluent community. And if you look at the Muslim community all over the nation, is the same way. They're highly educated, highly family-oriented people. You would not see Muslim children on the streets, in the bars, you know, in the gangs and stuff like that, because the families and the mosques pull them together and pay a lot of attention to the brought up of the
Now, with all the
children.
news coming out of the Middle East, we all know about tensions between Sunnis and Shia. And I've noticed that there are some mosques here identified as Sunni, some as Shia.
Right.
And are those kind of tensions existent here in the United States, or are those more?
Well, even back home, those tensions are not common. We all were brought up among each other. You see, this is all political. We don't know what the game is, who all the players are there. But if you go in the common neighborhoods, you'll find Shias and Sunnis everywhere living together. And here was the same way. 12, 15 years ago, when the community was very small, all Shias and Sunnis, everybody were together, just getting together in one room, or then in a little apartment, then a little building. And as the community grows, it is natural. Then you stick to your own cultures and your own, faith communities. So that is what has happened with Muslims also. There are 3 Shia mosques, but that does not mean we don't go to their mosque and they do not come to ours. See, Shia and Sunni is more of, I would say, a political division, because it was never in Quran. It was never in the life of Prophet Muhammad. It all started after that. So I don't pay any attention. Even though I belong to a Sunni family, I call myself just a Muslim.
Just a Muslim.
Period.
Well, let's talk about what happened in Orlando and what you've seen happening here in response in San Antonio. And two things. I mean, one is what has happened to the Muslim community. It's not hard to imagine that there'd be some backlash based on whatever kind of preconceived notions. But there's also been a reaction by the Muslim community. Let's start with two. Have you seen any outbreak here in San Antonio?
The hate attacks?
Of any kind of actions?
Against Muslims?
Right.
Oh, definitely. Each time any such event takes place, like after 9/11, it was a lot. Then as things started happening, lately San Bernardino, the hate crimes just spiked up. And then now with Orlando, it is, yes, we see that, especially in San Antonio. It is such a silent community. You know, people do not talk about it. Even the people that are going through this hate, they would rather stay to themselves. And because then again, there's a fear of the backlash from the neighborhood, at work, and the whole family gets involved in it. So instead, if it is a bullying case at the school, they would rather pull the kids out of the school and do the homeschooling than fight for it or talk about it, which is very sad. You know, I being an activist, I feel we should speak up. I feel we should be out there, let the community know. But you cannot force anybody. Like there are about 11 families in San Antonio, Muslim families, that has lately pulled their kids out of the schools and doing the homeschooling. Because either the bullying or the attitude of the teachers towards their kids.
The teachers can be a problem.
The teachers also.
I would expect that complaints, we would hope, would get some response to that.
Right.
But you say they don't file
if they would go as far as the talk to the principal. And even if the principal knows this family is not going to do anything, the principal is not going to bother the teacher. You know, because then the teacher will fight with him.
Okay.
So.
This particular tragedy had two aspects to it, which is, you know, usually it's just about somebody claiming to be aligned with Al-Qaeda or with ISIS. In this case, he claimed to be involved with ISIS or loyal to them, although there's apparently no evidence that he had any contact with them.
Right.
He was self-radicalizing, as they say.
Right.
But also, of course, his attack was on a gay nightclub, and there's information that's come out. Someone suggests that he himself was conflicted. His father said that he'd been very disturbed by seeing two men kissing. So, you know, it's fascinating to me that we hear an argument, and even between, well, it was really terrorism, no, it was really a hate crime, as though it couldn't be both.
Yeah.
How do you see?
The way I look at it is mental illness and the free use of the guns. Because if he hated that community, he was there. You know, he had relationship with another man there. So that does not explain at all. And I see that it was an unstable personality. Both his wives, the ex-wife and the second wife, they both are talking about it. He could not control his anger. This has nothing to do with radicalization. The first word on the media that came out after this attack was, where was he radicalized? You know, if that was not a Muslim, it was that if, let's say, that was another white guy, and he had done that shooting, neither the radicalization point would have come up, nor the faith would have come up. Right. Then only they are looked at from the mental illness lens. And that is where it is very sad, because Muslims should not be pushed aside that if they commit a crime. You know, there are good people and bad people in all faiths, in all cultures. If he has done something wrong, it is wrong. My heart goes out to the LGBTQ community for what they are going through right now. And but that does not mean that the whole faith and the whole community should be blamed for it. Why aren't we controlling that? Why we are not able to stop them? How do you stop them? Because if you look at the figures, every year, 30,000 Americans are shot and killed by the gun violence. Okay? Where are they radicalized? We don't talk about it. This also is one of those cases. And so was the San Bernardino. Because this is, unless we look at where really the problem is, we are not going to control this. As a whole community, as a whole, we have to.
There is a perception, I think, among many that Muslims are particularly taught about homosexuality being wrong,
You know, Islam is the only faith that has tolerance for homosexuality. That does not mean it condones it. It means that everybody has a right to live the way they want to. However they choose to live, that is between them and their God. We should not be judging them.
Well, I did try and do a little research on it, and there was a recent poll by the Pew Research Center, a highly respected group, and it showed that in the United States, American Muslims, 47% said homosexuality should be discouraged, 45% said it should be accepted, and it noted that among several other groups, the negativity towards homosexuality was higher, including the evangelical Christians,
Yes.
The Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons opposed it.
Every day, I am seeing in the news some priest, some reverend, somebody, some clergy from the Christian community is coming up and saying even those victims, the ones that are killed, but the victims that were injured, they have no right to live. They should die also.
Well, you don't have to go too far.
Like
there
that,
was
yeah.
Pastor Donnie Romero of the Steadfast Baptist Church in Fort Worth, who went on YouTube to preach that these are all perverts and pedophiles. They're the scum of the earth. The earth is a little better place now
without them. Exactly. And then they blame Muslims for it. Not one imam came out and said something like that. As far as Muslims that discourage it, that is based on Quran.
Well,
because
I'm sorry, but you've had a relationship with LGBTQ.
Oh yes, I'm very close to that community. They don't do anything wrong to me. Why should I hurt them? You know, they are always standing up with us. Whenever I need them, they're always standing up with us. And it is the right of everybody to live the way they want to, peacefully. We have no right to go and hurt them or dictate them otherwise. Yeah, all Abrahamic religions discourage that type of living. But those are the faiths, those are the books. For us in Islam, we are particularly told that we should not touch them, we should not hurt them. They should be given all the rights like any other citizens there are.
And was there a delegation at the rally that was
yes,
held?
That was sent from the mosque, a bus full of people, all Muslims went there. I was invited to speak at that rally. I could not go, and I felt so bad about it because I was holding an event at the Democratic Convention.
This was a rally last week at a downtown
the same day,
park.
Exactly, and the same day I was holding, the same day, same time, I was holding the event.
One of the suggestions that you see very, very frequently, including a letter the other day, is that two things: that Muslims don't speak out enough when these things happen, and another is that you should be doing more to watch out.
That's what I was saying.
These kind of people.
First of all, speaking out. What do they want us to do? You know, I mean, these are perverted, mentally ill, whatever you want to call them, people. Take them away from Islam. I do not even call them Muslims because Islam does not teach to do that. Islam is to follow the will of God, okay, to submit to the will of God. Now, what is the will of God? Is the will of God to go and kill people? To hurt somebody, to take away everybody's rights? No. If you do not follow that, then you're not a Muslim.
But clearly some people come to believe that it is. And we've seen that. So in San Antonio, have you seen, is there a concerted effort at the mosque and the community to watch out for the occasional person who does seem to be self-radicalizing?
You know, this is what my concern is, that each time any such case comes up, there's always FBI knew about it. FBI was following him for such a long time. Okay, so FBI knew about it. Why does not FBI bring it up to our attention so that we can follow them, watch them? Everybody comes to the mosque. They are good people. We have never seen anybody. If we would, definitely, you know, we will, if nothing else, report them. We never, and some cases where we have seen it around the nation, they have been reported by the Muslims. So asking
as a matter of
Muslims,
fact, in this case, there was a fellow who wrote an article for the New York Times who said, I told the FBI about Omar Mateen, and the FBI confirmed that. And,
there you go.
And that's why they investigated him. It was because an active Muslim, a member of a mosque there, did hear some things that caused
I
him
read
concern.
that too. And there you go. If we see it, we will say it. If you don't see it, what should we do? You know, you do not know what is in the heart of anybody. None of these mosques, as they say, people are radicalized in the mosques, okay? Show me one mosque. Show me one imam that is doing that. People can say whatever they want to. Today it has become a fashion. You cannot put anybody else down, so just put the Muslims down.
Real quickly, just one, not a lot of time, but it seems to me that America is an amazing assimilation machine.
Definitely.
And how do you see this community, the community of Americans who have been Muslims who have been assimilated, as compared to maybe Muslims in other places? What kind of the fact that you, as a woman in some Muslim countries, you would not be president of a major organization?
No, that's not true. That's not true, because Muslim countries have produced more women heads of the states, and America still has not seen one. You're obviously suggesting that Hillary convert, and I don't think that's going to happen. No, I'm not saying Hillary convert. I'm saying Hillary should be the president. That's what I'm saying. That just because she's a woman, she should not be given a chance is not the right thing. When you compare that with the Muslim countries, when it comes to work, it is on the merit basis. All right, I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it as a well-done turn. That is so much to say. Sarat Hussain, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that.